Hi, my name is Tyler with Electric Personal Training, and today we are going over the bench press. Now, the bench press is going to be one of our fundamental techniques for building the chest. It is going to be a compound motion, so we're going to be working the front delts, the triceps, and the chest here. I don't recommend using the bench press as an excuse to not work your front delts and your triceps. It's just something to take into account when choosing when in your workout you're doing it. That is, if you've already pre-exhausted your triceps and your front delts, you may have a little bit of difficulty keeping your performance up on the bench press. Now, the first thing we want to do when we're doing a bench press is choose our type of equipment. We can use one of three things are going to be the most common, being a barbell, a dumbbell, or the Smith machine. Now, if we're using the barbell, which is more common, we're going to have more stability due to the bar being restrictive in being one solid object between our two hands, so we're able to push a little more weight. This being said, the chest does like to converge on the motion, that is not just pressing forward, but together. And so the dumbbells are going to allow us to do that and also get more of a stretch on the chest as we come down past where the barbell would intersect with our chest. The Smith machine is going to be a little bit picky because the bar path, as we'll see on a bench press, is slightly backward. So we're going to want an angled Smith machine if we have access. However, we can make a straight Smith machine work. It just might feel a little uncomfortable. The Smith machine overall is going to give you even more stability than the barbell with the same lack of convergence ability. So it's just something to take into account when you are choosing which one you'd like to do. We'll go ahead and demonstrate with the barbell real quick. Firstly, we want to set up so that we are in line, our eyes are in line with the bar when we are setting our bench position. This is going to allow us to bring the weight several inches from the hooks from the rack, so we're not at risk of hitting them on our way up. Once you start stacking some weight on, we're gonna have a lot of bias to either side to go off balance if there's a little bit of positional difference. And so hitting the side of the rack with the bar is going to have potential to ruin your entire lift by setting off the balance by so much that it shifts an enormous amount of the weight to one side. We want to avoid this at all costs, so we're going to line up with our eyes and also take into account when we're setting the hook height that we need to be able to lift it about an inch to get it off of the hooks. We don't want to be setting it to the point where we're straight at the resting position, because then we're going to struggle to get it off without popping our shoulders forward, which is not ideal. We want our elbows to be bent when we are grabbing it on the rack here, so my elbows are bent so I can press it up and over. Now I'm going to lower the weight down to my lower chest as well as pressing up and back so that the bar lies above my upper chest, here and here. Now with hand positioning, it's a little bit subjective, but you usually want to be somewhere between 1 1/4 and 1 1/2 shoulder width. I usually recommend either lining up your pointer finger with the inner smooth ring of the bar's grating or your pinky finger with the outer smooth ring. Using this, we can make sure we're symmetrical and we're not off balance when we're pushing. We're coming all the way down, tapping the chest, and back up. Now, if you notice, my elbows are not excessively flared. This would be an excessive flare. You don't want your elbows to come out too far, as we're going to stretch the shoulder more than we need to and take leverage away from the pecs. A natural elbow tuck is much better. Now, there's no magic angle for the elbow tuck. It's just however your elbows happen to line up best with the press. Just let your elbows naturally be tucked and don't force them into that flare. We can apply the same technique to the dumbbells. The dumbbells are simply going to allow us to converge on our press up to the middle, as well as tucking even further back. Now, one thing I'd like to note about the dumbbells is the most tension on the chest is towards the bottom of the movement. So pressing one arm at a time is not going to benefit the movement at all and just provide an energy drain, because more of the tension is on the front delts and the triceps to prevent this motion than there is to prevent this motion, as gravity is straight down, so there's not any tension on the pecs in this position. So pressing one arm at a time is not going to be more valuable for the chest. If you're just getting into bench pressing, that is about all you need to know to get started. Although I will add that you are going to want to have some kind of safety in mind. If you have dumbbells or a Smith machine, you'll be all right. You can just re-rack or drop the weights. But if you have a barbell, if you get stuck, you're under that bar. So have a spotter if you can. If not, have a plan for if you get stuck. If the weight isn't too high, you can get away with rolling it down your body. However, if you're pushing significantly high weight so that you are higher than your body weight, which can be the case if you've been bench pressing for a while, I usually recommend leaving the clips off the bar, as once you've reached this point, you can at least balance it without any worry of the plate sliding off. However, we can use it as an escape plan. If I get to the point where I'm stuck, I can always shift my weight this way so that the weight will slide off. That will cause the bar to shift this way so that that weight slides off, and then the bar will come up. This is our emergency escape plan if we don't have a spotter and we are pressing heavy enough weight that it's going to be extremely painful to roll it down the body. Now onto some more advanced pressing tips. If we want to put more focus on building our strength on the bench press, we want to tighten our upper back as though we're pulling our shoulder blades together so that when we press, I'm not here, but here. It's not a huge visual difference, but it gives me more tightness in my back. Now this is going to reduce the ability of the chest to get as much of a stimulus because it's not pressing through a more natural shoulder rotation. However, it will give us a more solid foundation to push off of, so we're going to be able to push more weight. Now the same is going to be true for the legs, although slightly different, but we want them to be engaged and tight. But one of our most important rules for the bench when doing this is that the butt needs to stay on the bench. So my best way of teaching how to do leg drive is to think about pushing the floor apart while doing a bridge while keeping your butt on the seat. That's a lot of things that involve the legs for an upper body movement, but we're going to give it a try. So what this looks like, I'm going to get into a bridge, set my butt down so it's still on the bench, and push the floor apart. So I'm digging my heels in, pushing that way with my quads, keeping my back tight, and I have a solid base to press off of. Both of these tips are absolutely unnecessary for doing the bench press, but if you're looking to really build your bench press and really improve your bench press, these are some advanced tips that you can take with you to give a shot and maybe add a few pounds onto the bar. And that's about going to wrap it up for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this content and want to see more fitness content from EPT, go ahead and subscribe here for more videos, as well as on Facebook and Instagram at EPT Evanston. And if you haven't already, check out our free fitness tracking app on the App Store for free, available now.